This week I've gone a bit stir fry. I've been doing a little bit of this. I can know of liberty. I can know and a little bit of that. However, I've been getting into modular recently, modular synthesis, which is really unhealthy. One of my friends had a project regarding modular and they didn't complete it until 3 weeks later, even though it was a single day job. My motives behind it is so that I can actually offload my VSTs and effects so that, you know, it's less load on the computer. However, now it's turned into this huge rabbit hole of a quest to find the best sounds. Whatever. Enough of this doom and gloom, however, I want to actually get into some things I've been actually doing recently. As a part of this project that I've got going on, I am writing songs constantly, and I actually want to show you one of my more developed songs, my keepers as I want to call them. These songs I'm quite proud to show off, and actually, you know, these are the songs which hopefully will make it into the final project, whatever that might turn out to be. Just a bit of a disclaimer, the lyrics and the melody, the main top line, all credits go to the singer. However, I am not allowed to name the singer under different contractual reasons. This will be a two-part video series. In this video, I will only go through the main chorus and how I fleshed out certain ideas from that. In the second video, however, I'll go through the verses and the pre-choruses and the bridge, along with the vocals as well. So enough talking about the project. I'd actually like to get into the project. And I would like to speak about, first of all, how I formed this idea and actually go through the individual elements that I actually came up with before I moved on to the larger idea as a whole. So the way I work is quite backwards. I start with a loop, either 16 bars or 8 bars, and then what I'll decide to do was layer it with bass and layer it with pads, and you know, that's how I get my initial concept. From that initial concept then, I will then try and create that into a chorus of some sort, something catchy, something that you would like to listen to. From that then, I would actually create maybe 2 or 3 more choruses like that. However, I would strip some elements out and try and make them unique in different ways, either changing the grooves a bit or, you know, maybe putting some pushes in where they aren't in other choruses. I do many different things. From that then, I will then try and create a verse and a pre-chorus. And I've got the sneaky little trick of using the pre-chorus as a bridge. So I'll copy that in twice. And that is typically how I create my songs. So it's quite backwards in many respects, where I create the main chorus first or the last chorus first, and then I actually create everything else last. So this idea spanned over 2 days really, where in the first day I actually created the initial concept, and then in the second day I then expanded it into what it is now, really. So I started off with the drums like that. I also had a loop somewhere. Here it is. And the original loop is of a husky eating his food, and this is what that sounds like. However, I felt that the percussive husky didn't have the same amount of drive as I wanted it to. So I came up with another loop, which was the sound of this bottle cap, and that's what I ended up settling on as the main sort of hat loop, if that makes sense. It's not really a hi-hat, but it's a sort of hi-hat loop. I actually was inspired by a bossa nova sort of Latin sort of groove, and I decided to try and update that idea. Now, it doesn't sound like bossa nova, it doesn't sound Latin in any way. However, what I was able to do was copy that drum groove and modernize it in many different ways. This is what the initial idea of the modernized bossa nova group actually sounded like. If you have gotten this far, I'd like you guys to comment mod, M-O-D, for modular, just so that I know you're watching. And I'd also like you to like and subscribe as well, you know, the rest of it. So once I was happy with the drums, I moved on to the basses. Now, the basses are very simple. I've only got 2 instances of Serum running the basses here. And one of them is a very wide sub sound, so sub frequencies, and the other one is a lead bass with quite a narrow sound to it. And together they both make up this sort of sound. So it's very subby, you wouldn't be able to hear it if you're not wearing headphones or got nice monitors. And together the drums and the bass sound like this. So once I was actually happy with both the bass and the drum sounds, I actually left it for quite a bit and I came back to it during the evening. So when I came back, I actually added a few synthesizers and a few pad sounds. The main ones that you see here are the ones that stayed. I actually added quite a lot of sounds during that evening. However, I had to wean some of them down because they were making sound for sound's sake. However, the ones that you see right here are probably the more important ones and the ones which do have a proper functional purpose. I'll work through them in order. So you got the main plucks, you've got 2 nice plucks, you've got a piano pad, you've got 2 pads, and then you've got like an organ and super saw, sort of pulsed. Both of them are pulsed. So the 2 plucks, I really do like the plucks. The main pluck here. And you've got this sort of stereo widened pluck, which I quite like. You've also got this reverbed piano sound, which, to be honest, it adds some atmospheric ideas, you know. It adds some atmosphere to the sound. And then you've got this sort of nice, gentler pad. And then that's followed by this more darker sounding pad, which I added in a bit later on during the evening. Just to make things easier, I actually added in these 2 synthesizers here, the organ and the saw, much later on, after I added the vocals, just so that I could add a bit more lift during the end chorus. And that is what these 2 sound like. They don't sound very pleasant, however, they do add in the whole grand scheme of things. Once I was happy with the main synth ideas, I then moved on to the atmospheric ideas, which actually haven't changed much. In fact, they're quite sparse, and that is what these sound like. I wanted to add some breathing just to add a bit of nuance and something quite different when it comes to the atmosphere. It sort of suggests something, however, it doesn't suggest anything at all at the same time. You can interpret this in whatever way you want. So in the original idea, that was it. I added only just drums, bass and some synthesizers. However, for demonstration's sake, I'll add in the stutters as well, just so that it can actually demonstrate what the idea is. This was all I had in my initial idea, and you know, I didn't do much with it after that day. So everything that you hear right now is everything that happened in that day. Just so that I don't want this video to go on longer than it is, I'll cut it from here. However, there will be another one like this, explaining the rest of the track, including the vocals as well, and I'll talk a bit more in depth about the vocals as well. So that is it from me. I honestly hope you guys have a good day and please stay safe.